Let it Let it
Good evening. How are we doing? I saw Sharita was the first one in the house tonight. Sharita, you finally did it. You finally did it. I know how hard you were trying. All the discussions you were having with people just trying to get in there, and guess what you did? Sharita did it. Let's give her a hand clap, y'all. It was so important for her. Get in it, Rita. Get in it. I liked and shared. Best seat in the house. Go ahead, Rita. Welcome, Gwyneth. Dominique, hey. Tasha Ross, Coach Ebony. Joycey, the pot is hot. Where were you last night? Did you have a pass? Welcome, Renee and Diana Santos. Priscilla. Manuel. Yvonne Ramos. Hello, how you feeling? How you feeling, Elder Manny? Leah, good evening. Shayna T, good evening. Pastor Dolores, Brittany, ready for some more great teaching. Go, girl. She says she's up leveling. She's leveling up. Go, Nanita. Ebony says she chose happiness today. That's what I'm talking about. There's a song I've been wanting to play. I had actually mentioned when I heard Mimi's testimony, but I don't know how to get it in here. I'll have to figure it out. All right, Nicole N., welcome. Pastor Beverly Baker. Good evening, Candy, Sandra, Tennille. That's right. That's a shirt. I'm the key change agent in my life. Good evening, Crystal Adgers. Come on, we're coming up. We're up to 51. We still have to get that number doubled. I know some are late anyway, like I think on purpose, but let's get the number up. Like and share. A boat of sushi. Pastor D has liked and shared. Good evening, Ronnie Bonner, Coach Maria, Salinas. Good evening, Mike Rose, Jenny, Pastor Vel, Keisha. Welcome, Mike Tate, Pastor Audria. Good evening, Coach Latanya, Latrice, Erica with the C's. It's funny because both of our Ericas has a C, and then her last name begins with a C. The other Erica, she spells Erica with a K, and her last name has a K in it. Oh, wow. Right. Welcome, Ruby. Yeah, go Rita. She did her thing tonight. She was determined for like 4 nights. She was fighting to get in there. Reed Chambers, Anna, Katrina, Diane Washington. Yes, Renee, you made it. Come on in. Nicole Coleman, come on, Caritha, Corindus. Jerry, Bianca, good evening. Shay, she made it. Come on in. Come on back home. Deja, Rhonda West. Sharita's comparing, waiting to get on like the Black Friday sale. Keats, welcome. Darlene Henry. Ramanita, Daniel Woodard, welcome. Chevelle, Gwen Tucker, Dajanay, welcome. Misha, yes. Edmund Pert, he says booyah. Y'all wild tonight. Is y'all just like your brains are just fried now or what? How y'all doing? Good evening, Charnette, Roxanne, good to see you. We're up to 64. We're going up slow. Like and share, like and share. Let me see what we have here tonight. Let me see. Let's quiet this computer down. For 1 hour. Can you just sup with me 1 hour? Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Detox 2022. We are on day 25. So glad to have you in here with me. Hello, Bernard. Oh, you were serious, Joycey. Had a boat of sushi. She was serious. Good evening, Lasonia. All right. I want to thank Brittany for her giving. She says, for awesome teaching and tools to help me prosper. Amen. Anna for her continuous thank you. She's been consistent every night with her same amount donation throughout the whole 30 days. Bless you, Anna. Thank you. Prudence Gilbert, thank you very much for your giving. Ashley, very consistent in her ritualistic giving. Thank you so much. And Diane Washington just sent yours in now. I got it. Thank you, Diane, for your giving. It is much appreciated. You are all prayed for, even the more. Even the more. Let's see where I want to begin with the testimony tonight. This one I may have to do a little work to make sure I leave out names and all that. So let's see first here. And I just want to let you know, to all those that have subscribed to the magazine, I had to get the final edits in today for printing. It will not get to your address until the middle of March. And you'll get an email from Ebony letting you know the date that it's coming out. But it's a very organized organization, so a good over a month in advance, we have to make our final edits, choose our page layout, choose our themes, get our letters updated, even the tear-off cards, we have to pick all of that, the back cover, the front cover, the inside cover, the inside of the back cover. What is it that our theme is going to be about that night? So I was working on that all day today. So if you have any change of address, or if you have not been getting your magazine, please make sure you inbox us so that we can check it out for you. But there's many of you, I went through and confirmed addresses and all that. A couple people I did inbox you. You might want to check your inbox because I don't have apartment numbers. So there was a bounce back message that says they're sending it out, but they're not sure if you're getting it because the post office has sent a notice in that there's an apartment number that is needed. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you have subscribed. Tomorrow night, I should be ready enough to announce who are our candidates, those who actually won the personality assessment session for free. That's right, Pastor D. I almost learned that one again. 8 ways to worry less. I think I picked a stress one, and it kind of goes in sync what we were doing for this month. And one of them, it tells you to tear it out and give it to someone. So make sure you have a chance to subscribe on YouTube, please. If you can hit like on Facebook, share with someone. Also, we are on Google, iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. Ebony posted them all up. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Let's see. I do have a testimony here. Wow. That's a good way to start out most times. Tonight, Tuesday, was great like fireworks. Self-awareness. Let's talk change. Learning about the levels in my life of happiness. I am the key change agent in my life. Glory to God. Lord, I thank you for the happiness that you give me daily. Thank you. So Detox, Dr. Apostle Suzanne M. Howard, and you are welcome, my dear. Thank you for sharing your testimony with us. And I don't see any other ones. I'm going to scroll down one more time. Those are pinned posts. There's there. Nope, that's about it. So I'm going to try to read this one. And I say try because I want to leave names out. I think someone else I spoke to today told me I could even share testimony. But I will share this. 2 of my clients today both shared similar stories. And one, I guess I would say the thing where they agree on, they just use different expressions and language words, was that the very response that they had wanted from people, they feel like they're finally getting. And basically what they're saying is, I haven't changed much of myself to get it. It just seems like now that I am being me, focused on my authentic self and getting validation from my personality profile that this is really who I am. I've just been really focused and comfortable in my skin now and being me. And I'm getting responses from people. One woman said even a guy who was interested in her, she's getting the response she wants, as she's not so much trying to be concerned about pleasing him or being the rescuer. Remember on last night? Being the rescuer to him, that there's been a whole different response even from him. And another woman shared, she's getting a whole different response from her husband, to the point that there was something that she was getting ready to go take care of, and he went and took care of it for her. And she said she was just sitting there like, okay, find something else to do real quick, because he just went and handled it for her. Like, people are actually commenting that they are getting the response that they've always wanted from people. But instead of trying to change the people, they started changing themselves, and the responses that they are getting are the responses that they've always wanted. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful testimonies to share. One woman, trying to think of the part she said that was so powerful. I think I even had to write it down, but I don't know if I'm ready for us yet. But I just want to share my excitement and my joy with you. When I was given these flowers today, as far as testimony goes, I wanted to encourage y'all with these testimonies on just what God is doing. And it's just such an exciting place to be on the other end of these life changes that y'all are walking in. And I'm able to just hear the testimonies and see the delight and the joy in yourself. It's powerful. Oh yes, this was the powerful statement. She said, as an rescuer, I wasn't solving their problems. I was solving mine by being an enabler. Think about it. I wasn't solving their problem, because as an enabler, what you think you're really trying to do is help them solve their problem. And me fix them, me make things better for them. But really the whole trickery, the unconscious trickery behind being an enabler is that you're really solving your own problem. You need to feel needed. You need to feel important, because your self-esteem has just been dragged for however long of your life. Could be your entire life. Could have been since the last bad relationship or of death you never had gotten over. Or it could have been since birth. never been built up, affirmed, validated, any of those things. So her statement was powerful. I'm going to make my little JPEG for it to put on my page. I wasn't solving their problem. I was solving mine. And we know that no one ever gets solved in that. But today was powerful. She gave me permission to share anything that I want to share from our sessions. She says, I want to be transparent. And I've made up my mind a while ago to be transparent. But this was the part that really got me. She said, if my transparency can get somebody on board to soul detox and facing these messy, scary, dark places in our life that we don't want to confront. She said, if me sharing my testimony can get someone to Apostle Suzanne Howard quicker than it got me, woo, I want to share my testimony. Glory. Yes, Latanya, that was powerful. She said, it took me so long to get to you. And for years, I was afraid to get around you. And now I just see so much that God is doing. I can't wait for our next talk again. And a month is too long. And I just want to be a person that can connect people to you that need this in their life. Bless y'all so much for willing to share your testimonies with us. She made a comment also that the process of soul detox is not gimmicky. There's nothing gimmicky about it. It's the real deal. So thank y'all for sharing those testimonies with us tonight. Yes, absolutely. The enabler. All right, we're up to 83, so I think we're at a good enough spot to go ahead and get our work started for tonight. How you doing? How are you doing? How did y'all survive sleeping last night when you probably were haunted with oh man, I've been that victim, I've been that enabler, I've been that rescuer? Did that come into your face last night, or more so in your mind? The imagery, did it come in your mind last night when you were laying down? Because usually when you end the day just rushes you like a big wave. Did anyone feel that? I slept well. Very good. Yep. The victim, the rescuer, the oppressor. Very good, Mike. Good. I'm proud of y'all. You're hanging in there. You're doing very, very good. Oh, there. Yeah, that's right. I just saw something here. It reminded me. Let me see if I can read a part of this. Apostle. And you can tell they're yelling my name. Last night's teaching on the rescuer, the victim, and the oppressor was so on time. And it shifted my perspective as a person and as a leader for the better. My feelings of failure, specifically as a leader, were weighing heavy on me. More so at work, but it also crept into my ministry position and work. I was feeling all over the place and out of control, allowing myself to be pulled in too many directions, struggling to deal with difficult staff in an effective manner, all while neglecting my own well-being, neglecting my desires. And then this teaching, exclamation point. The reminder that I am a key change agent wherever I go, and that I am responsible for my own happiness was the jolt that I needed, exclamation point. All I could do was cry and speak each statement of truth over myself. I could have chosen to wallow in guilt and self-doubt, but it would have gotten me, capital letters, nowhere. However, I also realize I need continual coaching as a person and as a leader. Thank you for giving practical tools for us to work on throughout this year. Thank you for being the guide, capital letters, that you are, to help me see my blind spots and for empowering me to tap into what's in me. Feel free to share online if time permits. Thank you for that. Come on, another remarkable testimony. Woo, woo. Right on time. We cut that devil off in his tracks. The devil is defeated. He thought he was getting ready to do something, and we stopped him in his tracks. Thank you, Lord. All righty. Oh, that's the wrong book up. I was getting ready to take y'all deeper. I might have started getting some visits if I would have took y'all any deeper tonight, right? And we only have, what, 5 days left? 6 days left? All right. Beautiful testimonies. Thank you all. Those are my flowers. I consider those flowers and roses whenever a testimony is sent in. And let's get up to our work, because we need to talk about some success. We need to talk about communication, and we need to put the icing on the cake with emotional intelligence. And I think a lot of y'all might be a little excited, anticipating emotional intelligence. Has anybody ever had any kind of emotional intelligence knowledge, any kind of experience with anything concerning emotional intelligence? Yes, Shamika, it sure was beautiful. Anyone have any experience with emotional intelligence? Have you ever taken an assessment? Do you have an idea what it is? Because we always talk about our IQ, how smart we are. But we need to talk about how balanced we are, how aware we are of our emotions. Yes, from you. Yes, from you. I love y'all. It's so important. Okay, I think I might be up here where I want to be. I have an idea. Okay, good. Not at all. Awesome. Very good. I like that too. Awareness is the ability to be conscious of the experiences and the stimuli that ultimately determines how you take in and process information. What you think, believe, and sense is a reflection of what is already dwelling and stirring within you. Self-awareness, in a nutshell, is looking at your internal filters and making sense of them. That's a powerful statement right there. Ebony doesn't have the book on this one, but we'll have them ready for sure next year. Make it a little larger. I know y'all like that large print. Okay. Self-awareness, in a nutshell, is looking at your internal filters and making sense of them. Your life experiences, beliefs, values, assumptions, biases, fears, and expectations all influence how you listen. And how you listen is the key to how self-awareness can affect communication. That's a mouthful right there. I'm going to help y'all with that one too. That's a mouthful. I think Kamisha's been off the clock lately, so she's not going to get a paycheck on Friday. She hasn't been showing up, I don't think, last night or tonight. Your life experiences, your beliefs, values, assumptions, biases, fears, and expectations all influence how you listen. And how you listen is the key to how self-awareness can affect communication. There are 3 parts to internal experiences: your thoughts, your emotions, and your body sensations. We talked about this right from the beginning, but we used a different language, so it may seem like this is your first time hearing this. Some of y'all may say, well, I've heard it before, I think, because we're just using different words now. We're using a different language. But there are 3 parts to this internal experience. You have an internal experience going on. And that internal experience not only has more power, more authority, but has a deeper memory of what is going on than most things external. The place that you live in all day, that you look at with these eyes all day, that you think you're listening to with your ears all day, but yet the internal is way more powerful and makes more changes on the inside of you than most things that are happening external. Because there's 3 parts to this internal experience, and it's your thoughts, your emotions, and your body sensations. Thinking, as you would imagine, is connected to your mind. Thinking, as you would imagine, is connected to your mind, while sensing is connected to the body. It almost sounds like prophetic class, right? Intersecting the two is feeling, the emotional component that can be affected by your thoughts, but isn't always logical. Wow, whoever thought about that? And you always think you're right. You're always thinking you're talking such logic, only to find out that the intersection that you are actually believing and communicating from is just the intersection of 2 different experiences. And that is your mind and your senses. Thinking, as you would imagine. Thank you, Ramanita. Ron Bonner, I got me some scribes up there. Thank you. Thinking, as you would imagine, is connected to the mind, while sensing is connected to the body. Intersecting the two is what we know as feelings, the emotional component that can be affected by your thoughts, but isn't always logical. My. Think about that for a moment. Let's just take a moment. Let's slow it down for a minute. We're all right time-wise. Thinking, as you would imagine, is connected to the mind, which you know can be this place right here, to the mind, while sensing is connected to the body. You sense something that's connected to the body. But thinking is from the mind or the heart, because this is not really where your heart is. This is the organ pumping. But oftentimes when you have a broken heart or your feelings have been hurt, you will feel it where your natural heart organ is, when it really doesn't hurt your heart organ at all. It's just that we've been told this is where our feeling is in our heart, so we actually get physical heart pains. So that's why I'm touching the two. Thinking, as you would imagine, is connected to the mind, while sensing is connected to the body. When you bring together the mind and the body, you get feelings. You get a manifestation, a physical representation. When you connect the mind to your sensing, you get feelings, the emotional component that can be affected by your thoughts, but isn't always illogical. That's why we can't go by our feelings. When you're talking to someone, you say, well, I just feel, and most people are like, that conversation's worth nothing. A cotton balls in the back of a dump truck. No, we need logic. We need facts. Factual information. Even if the facts change, it has more weight than feelings. Feelings change by the second, by the moment, and oftentimes feelings are wrong. So when your mind, let me shrink that down a little bit so y'all can see where I'm at. So when your mind, okay, your heart, not your physical heart, but again, I'm touching the heart because this is where we believe, where we feel at. But from our mind and the sensing in our body is where we get feelings from. And sometimes you'll ask people, how do they feel? And they can't explain how they feel. They give you an emotion instead of a feeling. There's a difference between the two. Stay with me. We're going to get you there tonight. Self-awareness is your ability to recognize and separate these different experiences. They're 2 different experiences. So you can address each for what it is. So that you can address each for what it is. Come on, say it with me again at home. It's up here on the screen. Let me make sure I still have it up there. Yep, it's still on the screen. Read it with me, and we're going to read it together. I want it to sink in. Thinking, as I would imagine, is connected to my mind, while sensing is connected to my body. Come on. Intersecting the two is feeling, the emotional component that can be affected by your thoughts, but isn't always logical. Feelings. Remember that song, OGs? So self-awareness in this arena that we're talking about right now is your ability to recognize, acknowledge it, and separate, honor it. These different experiences so you can address each for what it is. Think about the last heated argument you had with someone. The kind of argument that left you feeling out of control, flushed, confused, and exhausted. Because that's where you end up when the adrenaline goes that high. Can you remember what you thought, felt, or sensed? Think about it. Come on, let's take a moment. We've got time. We're on wind down now. Can you remember the last argument that you had that left you feeling out of control, flushed, confused, exhausted? Can you remember what you thought, what you felt, and what you sensed? Or did it all run together and intensify an already intense situation? Or did it all run together and intensify an already intense situation? That's right. Let me ask you this question. Did you find yourself saying things without thinking first? I'm just going to sit here and just watch the screen just go blow up real quick. Yep, it all ran together. Did you say things without thinking first? You better believe it. And you got to go fast if you really want to win, because you have to be quicker than the other person. So you're going to say a whole lot of things without thinking first. God help us. Tossing around accusations and assumptions as if they were facts. Tossing around accusations and assumptions as if they were facts. If you were on with us last year, there was 12 toxic ways to think that we went through. And I'm going to go through it again in 2022. I'm going to take time, maybe do one a day. And assumptions was one of them. Catastrophe was another one. But assuming is one of the number one ways people choose to go and call it effective communication. I can't explain it, but I know it. There's no explanation for something that you don't know. That's why you can't explain it. Did you find yourself saying things without thinking first? Tossing around accusations and assumptions as if they were facts. Perhaps not being able to distinguish what was coming from within yourself from that which was coming from the other person. Most importantly, did you find it difficult to listen? How does listening work when your body has already went from thinking to sensing to feeling? How does listening work? Is anything really being accomplished when one or especially both parties have already reached that place? Can we postpone this discussion for another time? Because not only are we both yelling at each other, but we're both talking at the same time. No one's hearing anything. So it's automatically clear to us that the people involved with you, neither of you are trying to really get a point across. You just want to win, or you want to be right, or you're fighting for something that has nothing to do with the discussion you're in. I've been in a lot of disagreements or arguments with people, and later on to find out we weren't even arguing about the same thing. Could you imagine being in a disagreement and we're not even in a disagreement on the same thing? It's very hard to listen, deeply listen to the other person when you went from thinking to sensing to feeling. Once those feelings kick in, oh my God. If you were ever asked to repeat what the other person said and to express understanding of it, would your mirroring be accurate? It's funny when you do that to someone, because they'll be like, huh? What? Like they're trying to snap back. And some people have the gift to just echo what you said, but there was absolutely no understanding within it at all. Or instead of mirroring what was said, would it be reflective? Would it reflect your personal experiences, biases, feelings, and disappointments? That's the truth. You realize you don't even know how far you went and why you even went that way. And God help us if you have a problem with apologizing. We're really in trouble, right? Arthur says no. Okay. I agree. If you could not mirror what was said with an expressed understanding, then what it's saying is it would reflect personal experiences, biases, feelings, and disappointments. That's what the argument was really about, or the heated discussion. Self-awareness is the antidote to this internal flooding. If you go to a psychiatrist's office, a counselor's office, they're going to call it flooding. Self-awareness is the antidote to this internal flooding, especially in situations of conflict. It isolates and identifies your internal filters. It helps you to know what is happening inside of you. Am I projecting my thoughts onto this person? Very much so, with intent and motivation. Am I projecting my thoughts onto this person? Am I feeling a specific emotion like anger or sadness? Is my body giving me signals like numbness or flushing? In the movie Violet, if you haven't watched it, please finish your project this month. That was part of your assignment. That was part of your soul session work, was to watch the movie Violet on Apple TV or Amazon Prime. And the flushing part for her was when the screen went bright red, and the red come off. That means there was a flushing going on in her body. And it's amazing because we feel that flushing on the inside, but we think everyone on the outside can feel it or see it. And then most times they can't. Most times. Some people get a swallow or eyebrow. If you're my color, you probably end up the color of my shirt, so people can kind of tell with people of my complexion. But most arguments reflect personal experiences, biases, feelings, and disappointment. And all we were talking about is, what did you want to eat tonight, dear? So self-awareness is the help. It's the antidote to this internal flooding. You're going to get sick, especially especially in situations of conflict, because conflict isolates and identifies. And then self-awareness will isolate and identify your internal filters and bring knowledge to it. It helps you to know what is happening on the inside of you. Am I projecting my thoughts onto this person? Am I feeling a specific emotion like anger or sadness? Is my body giving me signals like numbness or flushing? Knowing how self-awareness can affect communication can improve every relationship in your life. Did you hear what I said? Knowing how self-awareness can affect communication can improve every relationship in your life. It's a powerful tool that can facilitate problem solving and resolution of deep-seated issues. Now go back to that heated argument and try to remember things that were said and your reactions to them. Kamisha, you got to visit HR. Try to go back to that heated argument and try to remember things that were said and the reactions to them. Phrases like, I feel like you. Don't want to put that one on the screen. Whose favorite word is that? Well, I just feel like you. How about phrases like, you never? I think that used to be mine, but I got a little bit better on that one. Be like, I didn't this year and I didn't last year. And then the last time before that was 10 years, but you're saying I never. I just feel like you. Phrases like, you never. Or phrases like, you always. Come on. Which one is you? Or how about, you don't. You never. You don't. Those are landmines when it comes to effective communication. Landmines. Do you know what a landmine is? Do you know what a landmine is in a discussion or an argument? That is not effective communication. In fact, it blows up the effective conversation. It blows it up, and there's no sobriety in this conversation. There's no one sober anymore. Because as soon as the hearer hears, I feel like you, they're feeling blame. And if they were someone who was blamed a lot in their childhood, they are not going to respond well to your blaming. That's why we leave feel out. Leave feel out. Because feel means I'm assuming. And we cannot assume if we're bringing an argument. And doesn't mean a fight or doesn't mean a yelling. It just means an apologia. If we're bringing a case up to someone, we don't have a right to assume. Y'all getting free tonight. In fact, phrases like this muddle the internal experience of your thoughts, your feelings, and your sensations, leaving the speaker confused, the listener defensive, and the situation more intense. Did I just preach? Oh yeah, it's a landmine. It's going now. Don't be surprised if the neighbor comes over or the kids got to come downstairs and tell the grown folks how to act, or the, God forbid, the popo got to be called. Help us, Jesus. Families coming over. Because when you express that to someone, the conversation needs to end. Unless you're talking peaceably, like you're really trying to get understanding yourself with the person. I feel like. But if you're arguing and you yelling like, I feel like you never, you always, you don't. It's always you. It leaves The speaker confused. You're confused because you're being led by feelings. And the listener is defensive now because now the landmine is in. We are at war. Yeah, Corindas, you have it right. The landmine has exploded. We are in war now. This is no longer a conversation over tea. So now it's kill or be killed. The listener is going to be very defensive because you're making blanket statements that are direct and they're hitting. And they might be hitting a trigger to something else from 20, 30 years ago, or the last time you had an argument and never got cleared up. And all it does is leave the speaker confused, the listener defensive, and the situation more intense. Imagine now how that argument would have sounded if you were able to separate the components of your interior experience. And I know people are going to say, well, you know, women, we function differently. We're human. You can do it. You can do it. And it's not just women. You know, a lot of men think that they are not emotional. But first of all, we're all emotional beings. God gave it to us. And second of all, the fact that you're not showing emotions makes you emotional. It really does. You are as emotional as someone who wears their feelings on their shoulder. Remember that old school saying that your emotions are always out in front of you? The one who has to suppress emotions all day, every day, unconsciously, is a very emotional person. And the dysfunction behind the emotional suppression is life-threatening. So imagine how that argument would sound if you were able to separate the components of your interior experience. Don't let anyone who's just, ooh, like you got to check a pulse check sometime to make sure they're still alive because they show any emotion. Don't let them tell you that you're too emotional and they're not emotional. They are extremely emotional. Extremely. And the weight that it takes for them to suppress emotion usually is reflective in their body weight. It's this stuff isn't even, it's science, but it's really not rocket science. That's why when we talked early on, being self-aware, you have to get curious about how your brain works. This is to the detriment of your health. Landmine, leave those phrases out. What if you had been able to recognize your sadness as a feeling and your assumption, a lack of love, as a thought? What if you had been able to recognize your sadness as a feeling, it's just a feeling, and your assumption of lack of love as a thought? And what if instead of saying, I feel like you don't care about or love me, you spoke with clarity out of your self-awareness? What do you think would happen? It might sound something like this. I feel very sad. Not you make me sad. I feel very sad at what I'm making up in my mind is that you don't love me anymore. Is that true? Do you know how different that conversation would go? It would give the person a chance to lean in instead of pulling out all the guns and the knives at you. Let me try it again. Tell me you don't even feel a difference just in your reaction to my statements. Did you feel any kind of aggression or anything when I express the you never, I feel, it's always you don't do this? Did you feel any type of anything in your body? Be honest. Anything physical. If you did or didn't, it doesn't matter to me. But I want you to be self-aware of it. Did you feel anything when I made those statements? Yeah. Come on, Keish. We got you tonight. Come on. Did you feel anything when I spoke those words tonight, those statements? Yes or no? The first felt like an attack, see? Tense. Very good. Come on. I need some more answers on the screen. Yes, yes. A little aggression. Yes, absolutely. Even I myself saying the words, my body responded to even hearing those words. It put me in a defense mode. I could feel my body begin to get tight just over saying those words and even hearing them. And I even had a whole picture show in my head, a dialogue of what was going on with that type of discussion. Now let me say it this way again. Let's take a woosah. Let's breathe. Thank you for the Holy Spirit. Thank you for Pneuma. Thank you for Pneuma. We breathe in the breath of life that God breathed into man, and we breathe out and became a living soul. Come on, let's breathe in and breathe out. Out your mouth. Come on, breathe in your nose and out your mouth. Okay, let's get the flooding out. Now listen to my words here. I feel very sad, and what I am making up in my mind is that you don't love me anymore. Is that true? Tell me what that conversation just did to you. Did it bring a feeling of empathy towards the person who was sharing this? I automatically felt empathy for the person, like picturing myself objectively and someone coming to say that to me. I didn't have to get on guard. It drew me in. Yes. And that's the purpose of communication. You want to draw your hearer in. You don't want them to be repelled from you. You don't want a week on the couch. You don't want to have no intimacy. You don't want to have to keep that energy. I remember when I used to have to go a long time. My son's father, man, he could go a month and not talk to you. And I'd have to learn how to live in the house with him for a month and not talk. And after like 3 or 4 days, I would be upstairs watching TV and something funny, and I'd be laughing at it. And I'd come downstairs like in this really good mood. And I was like, oh, I had to back up, get my anger, get that other energy back, and walk in the kitchen and grab something and slam a cabinet and the door a little bit aggressively to let him know I was still in the fight. And he could do this for a month. And it was hard for me to do it. But look at the difference in the words. Let me scroll up a little bit. I'm gonna rephrase it for a minute. And I want to keep your body in a good spot. But listen to it this way. I feel like you don't love me anymore. And I know that it's true. That's the phrase, I feel like. And then that's assuming. And then I feel like you don't love me anymore, and you never tell me that you do. Never, ever in a lifetime. You always make me feel like you don't love me, and I know it's true. Where are we going to get that? You came for a fight. Now let's try it again the nice way. I feel very sad. And what I'm making up in my mind. Well, how do you know you're making it up? Because you don't have facts. So even if the person turns around and says, you're right, I don't love you anymore, but you were making something up in your mind. And when you make stuff up in your mind, it gives you all these other thoughts and reactions and responses. And now you're at somebody's divorce court, you're at a funeral parlor, or you're moving out in your mind, and next thing you know, you're in the store and you're buying boxes and stuff because you about to divorce the person because you know they're cheating on you, or they left you, or, you know, they got a baby on the way. And I mean, your mind will just go if you let it. It doesn't put them on the defense. Catastrophizing. Exactly, Pastor D. And that was those 12 deadly, toxic communications that are not allowed. I'm going to read it again. I feel very sad. And what I'm making up in my mind is that you don't love me anymore. Is that true? By recognizing the components of your own inner life you are far more likely to take ownership of it. That's good, Arthur. By recognizing the components of your own inner thoughts, your own inner life, you are far more likely to take ownership of it and maybe actually open the door to a real conversation instead of a fight and the tension. I feel like you is a side door introduction of thought. I feel like you, let me post it so y'all will have it on replay, is a side door introduction of thought, an assumption, an accusation. But feelings are feelings. But feelings are feelings. Can y'all see it all right on the screen? Bigger? That better? But feelings are feelings. They aren't always logical. And I'm just being kind with that statement tonight. That's a powerful statement right there. Y'all need to make a note of that. Another one of those posts that you need to have come up on your phone that ministers to your soul. I feel like you is a side door introduction of thought. It's a side door introduction of thought. It's an assumption. And it's an accusation. But feelings are feelings. They aren't always logical, and they don't need to be justified or defended. They're simply feelings. Thoughts, however, are the seat of our judgments, our assumptions, and biases. That's right. I was listening to this guy on YouTube the other night, and he was talking to this woman, and he was like, look, if women are going to call into my show, they got to get out of this thing with I feel. He says, a man is not going to waste his time in conversation. I'm not your husband, your father, your son, so I don't have to waste my time in conversation with you. But if all you can do is call me and tell me what you feel, you can't quote what I said. If you can't state the facts of what I'm saying is an error or that I'm wrong, he said, you may not like my tone. It may be rude. I could probably change that. But don't call me and tell me how you feel and expect me to change my show. And I was like, yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. Thoughts, however, are the seat of our judgments, assumptions, and biases. They are closely connected to our beliefs. See, now we're getting somewhere deep now. Thoughts are connected to our beliefs. Remember at the beginning of the training? Identity formation. Identity formation asks the question, who am I? How do you answer that question that identity formation asks? By finding out what you believe. So our thoughts are closely connected to our beliefs, which form a frame of reference for how we see the world. Now we're going back to self-esteem book. If you want to understand how self-awareness can affect communication, you need to understand the distinctions and interrelations between these interior players. They're interior players. And just as importantly, you need to accept responsibility for that inner experience that only you have. Now tell me that's fair. Is that fair? Can you bring that into the courts? Can you bring that into the courts of heaven? Then you shouldn't bring it into the courts of any conversation you have. If you want to be deemed as someone that comes with logic and not just intuition, someone that comes with facts and not just feelings. If you want to be taken serious in a conversation, that I feel, not to be used as an accusation against someone. Apologize for how you feel, if anything, because your feelings are what's going to come across in the communication. And someone who's, I think it was someone who's turbulent has a very keen discernment for people's feelings. They pick it up. They have a keen stimuli for it. Hopefully you remember when I taught you on that. They're going to pick up this energy about you. They're going to pick up this psychology that you're bringing into the room. And they're going to be ready for war with you. You need to accept responsibility for your inner experience that only you are having. Don't put that on someone else. It's up to you to identify it for what it is and then to express it clearly. Come on, this is good stuff tonight. Y'all getting it? I'm going to have to slow down and stop around here because this is some good stuff and I don't want it to get buried. But we're down to the count now, so I've got to get you what I can. At least when you replay, if my little accent don't throw you off, you will be able to see these notes up here. Just as importantly, you need to accept responsibility for that inner experience that only you have. Boom. That's a tagline y'all all need to post tonight on your social media platforms with So Detox. Suzanne M. Howard. It's up to you and you alone to identify it for what it is. Seek a therapist. Find a mental health coach. But don't expect your spouse, your children, your family members, anyone to be responsible to help you identify what you are feeling internally. And because they can't understand it, read your mind, or jump underneath your skin, you think you have a right to talk to them the way you do. You don't. You are responsible to identify it for what it is and then express it clearly, authentically, honestly, and compassionately. Well, why would I bother to do all that? Because you want to be in communication with other humans. You're not in heaven yet. You're not in heaven yet. So it is up to you to learn to be accepted into conversations, for people to want to listen to you and to hear you. I love you, Shay. Boom, boom. I'll bring you back to life. You need to accept responsibility for that inner experience that only you are having. It's up to you to identify it for what it is and then express it clearly. Come on, Kamisha, that's right. I'm going to give you your job back. You were fired. I don't know if you heard me earlier. It's up to you to identify it for what it is and then express it clearly, authentically, honestly, and compassionately. Kamisha, I don't know how well you know me, but you're okay. Okay, this is just how I jokey joke. You're okay. The deep yearning with any relationship is to feel heard. The deep yearning. I think someone just fell off their chair on this teaching, right? I think somebody did have to fall off that chair. I've got a studio audience out there, and I think they just fell off their chair with this one. Boom. They were like, please, I hope Harold ain't listening tonight. I don't want Harold to hear this information. The deep yearning within any relationship is to feel heard. How does that sound to you? How does that wash over your body right now? Is that really what you want? Do you really just want to feel heard? I'm glad to hear y'all learning so much. It's all in my book, in my newest book. So I hope you all get it once it's released. You can get the book and go through it with the coaches. I definitely recommend getting the book and doing your 30 days over. Take one a week, go through the book, follow the video, go through the book, follow the video, and you got all year to work on your self-awareness. You can email us with any questions you have, any feelings that you have, and we'll guide you through email. If you're going through the videos in the book, if you want to watch the video and the book and check in with a coach once a month, I literally will recommend minimum once a month with a coach. I think you'll do well. At its purest level, all communication is an outreach for this satisfaction. But we are not mind readers. No matter how close we may be in our relationships. So it's incumbent upon each of us to listen. Come on, breathe. Deeply listen to what accumulates and steers within ourselves. I've had conversations with people who've had so much self-talk in their mind, they literally thought they told me something or said something they've never even said. But it was so much talk, it's just like Violet. So much chatter that it was more chatter inside of Violet than it was outside of Violet. And for this person that I was in a real life conversation with, it was almost like the reality and the thoughts were getting smeared, and they couldn't tell which was in here and which was actually set out here. It is not good for a man to be alone. It is not good for you to keep those thoughts into yourself. It's not healthy. Then and only then can we hope to communicate accurately what we long to have safely, lovingly reflected from us. And in that reflection lies the hope of resolution, healing, and moving forward. How does that sound tonight? Tomorrow we'll go into one level deeper on why self-awareness is important in communication. Tonight the chapter is on how does self-awareness affect our communication? So you heard how it affected it. But tomorrow we're going to go in and we're going to talk about why it is important. What it's costing you, what you're losing, what you can gain by taking this to the next level. It's going to help you to control your emotions, which is going to lead us right into emotional intelligence. It's going to help you to understand your own motive. I talked to a couple of people today and they were like, they could never follow goals. They could never set and follow goals in their life. And they're getting so excited about being able to set some goals and actually follow them. How many of y'all consider yourself OCD? Not by joke or just matter of factly. Self-awareness can help you pull away from this obsessive compulsive disorder. Being self-aware helps you avoid escaping reality. This is all we're going tomorrow night. How many escapers do I have on here? How many of you feel like you escape reality? You take medications to sleep. You take medication to feel good. You take medication to keep you up. Do you have to smoke? Do you have to have sex? Do you have to? And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm saying have to. Have sex to escape reality? Do you have to shop, gamble? What is it? What is it? Are you someone that has to avoid escaping reality? Are you an escapee? You are not your mind, nor is your mind limited by you. We're going to go into some good stuff. We're going to talk about why you struggle with being self-conscious. This is all on what we're talking about. And then you're going to have a small assignment to do, but you'll get through it. And I know when I say small, you are like, oh God, small for you. But that's enough for tonight. I thought we were at 9:30. I was going to give you all a little extra tonight. But I think we'll be all right. Think about it. We're going somewhere powerful. We want to clean the slate. It's the beginning of a year. It's time for you to bask in the newness of who has been waiting to come out of you for a long time. All right. If you have any questions, you can visit us at the website, www.suzannemhoward.com. You can always email us at info@suzannemhoward.com. We'd love to hear from you. It's Wednesday. We're going to be sending your assessment out on Friday. We're going to give you until, let me shrink this banner till I finish talking. We're going to give you until Monday, the latest, maybe even Sunday, but we're going to hope Monday you get it back to us, because when you come, let me give you a little tip. With this assessment that we're going to send out on Friday, that we need back the latest Monday, this is what's going to have us give you your final closing report. This is what we're going to make for suggestions to you, that you take a coach up. This is what I suggest you work on. If you don't go into coaching, this is the areas that I recommend that you concentrate either with a therapist or an accountability partner. To the minimum, work on this part of your life if all you have is yourself. So I'm going to give you a letter of recommendation. What is my best mental health recommendation for you? But I will need that assessment back from you. I don't know, Ebony, maybe we could even send them out tonight, maybe because I gave a little note about it. People might be ready to start working on them now, and they can start coming back in pieces, because you're still going to have your emotional intelligent assessment. So Ebony, let's send out the assessment tonight. You're going to get an assessment. There's actually going to be 3. It's going to be, one is going to be assessing if there's any depression in you. The other is going to be assessing the level of joy you have in your relationships or lack thereof. And the other one's going to be assessing any stress in your life, so that we can make a thorough recommendation from you. You'll get a written letter from me with an opportunity coming to talk to us. And we just want to make you very successful this year in any way that we can. So watch for the assessments and just get them back as soon as you can. And we can get your information to you. It feels great to get free. Great. Ebony says they are ready to be sent out tonight. Yep, absolutely, Darlene. Replay. Yes, Keisha. Replay on the podcast tomorrow. And I update them as soon as we hang up the phone, as soon as we hang up on here. So, whew, come on, let's breathe. Come on, shake it off a little bit. You did well tonight. And now let's go ahead and make our prophetic declaration over each other. 3 John. I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. God bless you all. Have a wonderful night. Be ready for tomorrow. Same time, same station. Catch a replay. Get our likes up. Get our watch count up. Watch it as much as you want. Send it to as many people as you want, so that this can prosper and we can reach another generation and hopefully save a generation to not have to go through the mental health challenges that we all have had to go through. All right. I love you. I pray sleep rest for you tonight. Good night.
Let it